Now they should be able to hear me. Thanks, Nana.
Oh, my stream can hear me too now. Gotcha.
Now they should be able to hear me. Thanks, Nana.
Oh, my stream even though there's nobody in there. Gotcha. It's okay.
Now they should be able to hear me. Why do I hear myself? Thanks. There we go. I had my video thing, or my Twitch stream unmuted. I think I'm good to go now.
I'm just opening up my channel to give myself a viewer. Should be muted.
Sure give yourself one. Same.
Yep.
Let's see.
Oh, man.
I got you pulled up now, too. I love that picture. I wanted to use that one, the one that you got on your stream, but I was really worried about where the webcams would be pasted, because I'm like, I feel guilty covering anybody.
Yeah, and I was like thinking at first, I'm like, oh, I can just I put mine over Red 13 because I could see him, but I forgot that my green screen won't work right now. And,
yeah. Kind of bummed out that works the way it does. We'll have to figure out something better, assuming there is something better.
There's got to be something.
Yeah, I really thought you'd be able to use your webcam here, or I'd be able to use my webcam here, and then I just stream you from Discord. But yeah, it's kind of silly that you can't use it twice.
Yeah,
I get it.
I thought it was stupid as well.
So, Final Fantasy VII Remake. How'd you feel? Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot, actually. There were parts where, not that I didn't like it, but I was a little indifferent towards it.
What kind of parts do you think?
Some of the side quests, they felt a little tacked on. They were fun, and I understand why they were there, to get you experience, items, just kind of flesh out the world a little more, but there's still fetch quests or just the basic stuff that you do, and it was just...
Was it the side quests that they made, or just the fact that there were side quests that are a really strictly defined side quest?
I think the amount of side quests is what it was for me.
I really liked... I think you had side quests in... somewhere between chapter 4 and 6, and then you had side quests between 11 and 12, and then another about 14, and then 16 you just got 20 of them. I think the balance before that one was perfect. But then once you got to that one where you just unlock all of them, a lot of those quests really they tied in together. You did this thing and it would help in this one, but I can see if somebody wasn't paying attention to unlocking those side quests, you might be doing a lot of running around.
Right. No, I completely agree with that.
And that was kind of a bummer. I like the idea of side quests. They definitely extended the game and provided me items and stuff like that I wanted. But there was no real need for it. They didn't really help the story much, besides I just understand people in the area now.
Yeah, they just wanted you to get a better feel of Midgar itself, and I get that, but I don't know, it just was all tacked on was all.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Overall, I think I like the game. I did get tired of combat every once in a while. I'm like, okay,
oh really?
I liked the fighting style that they had, the combat the system itself I liked. But sometimes we get to places. The first time I felt it was whenever you blow up Sector 1, and you're escaping from the bombing, and everybody splits up because you don't want to get caught. So you go off on your own, and you're just fighting. I think I was in combat for 2 hours, and to me that felt too much. I liked it most of the time, but there were definitely points in time where I'm like, this combat system it's draining on me. I never felt like it was the wrong choice, though.
Did it take too much out of you, as in took too much of your attention, or just was just too intense, or?
A little bit of both. My play style for Final Fantasy Classic, especially once I started getting to a point where okay, these parts are easy, I can just do this blindfolded, is I would get okay, I got a random spawn, I'm just going to run away from it because I don't need this experience right now. I'm going to move forward in the story. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities to do that in a lot of combat scenarios. And that was kind of frustrating. Overall, I think it was good. I liked like I said, I liked the combat style that they had. Just, it was every so often I'd be like, I'm kind of tired of fighting this way. I want to go to just tactical. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what to do.
Right.
There's a few times I was even thinking about like I'm gonna set it to easy mode because I just want to get back to the story. I never did it, but I definitely had the feeling.
Sorry, hold on just 1 second.
Sure.
Somebody told me that you were muted on my stream. Say, what about now? I think I had the wrong audio source selected for my stream. I
Gotcha.
fucked it up before. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. That's
yeah. And summons, I didn't like the summons. I liked the summons themselves, but I didn't like the system to summon them. I never felt like I knew when it was going to happen.
Yeah, and whenever it was funny because like it didn't seem to happen enough until I had somebody with Carbuncle. If I had Carbuncle in my party, like every battle that lasted more than a minute, maybe 2 minutes, like it's like, yep, Carbuncle's ready to summon.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Why doesn't Ifrit or Shiva or anybody else want to come out?
Yeah, you definitely got yours. It seemed like a lot when I was watching you. But there were so many times where I'm like, I've had this fight go on for 5 minutes. He's literally 3 hits away from being dead, and now you give me the summon counter.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
What was the point?
And I couldn't tell if it was gated behind a timer or if it was just... I don't know, honestly.
I did some looking up to see if I could exploit
one.
it, and nobody really knows. Or at least when I looked, they didn't really know.
Really? There was no real answer for it outside of...
I couldn't find anything. And having played Final Fantasy 15, it's better than 15 was. But yeah, it just wasn't enough. I don't think I need the same way Classic was.
I don't remember Final Fantasy 15, the summons in that. Like
I don't think they called them summons. I forget what they called them. But it was very much you really only got to use them like 3 or 4 times in the entire game.
Okay.
It was basically scripted. So it wasn't that intense. And I don't need it to be like Classic where I could literally summon Knights of the Round every single turn. Like that seems overkill.
Right, yeah.
But it would have been nice to be, hey, instead of keep your 2 ATB bars for 3 minutes straight, and then now you've unlocked a 3rd ATB bar, and now you summon or something like that. Like that would have been nice to me or something.
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, the only thing I can think about that with that is if you remember the original Final Fantasy set, which you do, you just played it. For me, it was very hard to beat the game, beat Sephiroth, beat those last few fights if I couldn't summon Knights of the Round over and over and over again. Like I kind of had to have that for me.
But are you I'm going to grind and level kind of person, or I'm going to hammer through the story?
I mean, now that I'm older, I want to go through the story and power through. Even when I was younger, I did that too. But that when it originally came out, like I originally got stuck in the Temple of the Ancients, like the first how many ever months, because I didn't grind, I didn't understand that concept, and I thought it was boring.
I remember having a save there that I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit at this door that comes alive and attacks me, and someday I will RNG through it. I still probably have a save somewhere that didn't ever make it through.
Yeah, no, I've been stopped by the wall so many times, and if you don't grind and get have the proper materia equipped, and it's a hard fight. It's the first real challenge of the game. It's for me anyway.
Yeah, I think so. And you can't back out either if you save there. You can't you're trapped.
You can't go back and grind. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. It's just like, what the fuck?
Now, something that carried over for me from the Classic in terms of my playstyle that I saw you have a lot better success when you were streaming than I did in combat, but you used your items. You were very good about using grenades, throwing bombs. You were guarding all the time. I'm very aggressive. I wanted to always be hacking and slashing. I very rarely used items. So like the Rufus fight, for example, I got to the point where like, okay, I just roll around until he's reloading. That's when I attack him. Otherwise, he just knocks me down. You were guarding against stuff, which allowed you to counterattack, and you were throwing items, so you got those more opportunities. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that because
there's a deeper level to it where you want to be like button smash and be like, just fucking kill him. But even when you switch to Punisher mode, that's like your ultimate damage mode. You want to go crazy and attack and stuff. But if you guard while you're in that mode, you counterattack instead of blocking something. But it's only melee attacks. If it's a ranged attack, it'll still knock you down.
And then to mention, like, I'm also that kind of player. It's like, I don't know if I'll need this later in the game, so I just ended up the
I did the same thing. Yeah, until I got to the end where I was just like, that last fight with Sephiroth, I was just rolling through mega potions and shit, like just struggling to stay alive because I think I was at like the minimum level to beat that game. Honestly,
I think I was about this. I think I ended the game at 38, 39. I don't remember where you were.
35, 36,
Oh yeah,
maybe.
you were a little bit lower then. But
Yeah.
the whispers, I don't think that you had any problems with the whispers. I died in that battle 3 or 4 times, and you have to redo
really?
the entire thing over again,
I
regardless of when you die in there.
The whispers, there were a couple of lucky hits, but on top of that, not that they were weak and it would like stagger them, but I found out like each one was almost its own element, and so like the yellow one was like I'm pretty sure kind of lightning based, so I would cast. What was the
Okay.
opposite of lightning in that game? Not water.
No, I think water
Was well in 7 the original, but there was no water spell in remake that I remember. There's wind.
Mm,
And I think you're right. I
There's
think wind
ice.
was the counter to it. Ice. There you go. That's the one
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. Yeah, there we go. That's a
Yeah.
water spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that section was actually very hard. That's the section that I'm like, okay, this feels Kingdom Heartsy to me.
Yeah.
Most of the game really didn't, but as soon as they pulled out the whisper boss, I forget his name. But that one, I'm like, oh, okay, you pulled some familiarity here.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Final Fantasy VII, but I'll let it slide. It is what it is.
Yep.
There's also, go ahead.
Somebody has a question for you in chat. You can answer that.
Oh yeah, Darkseid.
In,
You have a
in your
question?
in your chat.
Feel free to ask away. Anybody who's listening, feel free to ask questions. I might not get to them as soon as you ask them, but
Right.
you
But
probably
yeah,
will.
toss the question up and try to figure out how to pop out your chat too.
Yeah, that's
It used to
that
let me
there
just
too.
pop out chat.
Is that not an option anymore?
It doesn't look like it.
Oh, that is a question. Let me read that. I'm
Cool.
interested in Ghost of Tsushima because the Mongols are the main antagonist. However, the game is based on historical accuracy, and the Mongols did some horrific and brutal things to people. And they were also cruel, ruthless, and sadistic people, and I understand sticking to historical accuracy, but in this case, is that even possible? How do you portray Mongols with knowing the horrific and brutal things they did, while still keeping them as close to what they were as possible?
That's a fucking question right here. What?
That's I'm no sexpert, but I don't think I can answer to that.
Hold on a second here.
I mean, if this is a legitimate question, which I hope it is,
It looks like it.
yeah, I don't know how you. I mean, you could.
I have not heard of this game.
Yeah, I don't know this game either. I mean, you portray it that way, but just don't be over the top with how you make it and be gross and gruesome.
I mean, but video games. Yeah, I looked it up. I see. So like, think of So for this, I think of, uh, it's gonna sound really stupid, but the Call of Duty scene in
That's
Modern
what I was
Warfare,
thinking of.
when you go through and you just murder civilians. Is it the airport or the train station? The airport.
Airport,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah, you just go through and you just mow people down with a 50 cal or whatever the hell you have. Like, it's a video game. It's seen as art, just like a movie is seen as art. So I feel like you could keep close to those representations of that civilization, of that type of person, and it not come off as bad because it's art. It's a representation of something that happened in real life, you know?
But a lot of people were upset about that scene. The game did get banned, but they were upset.
But that's the good thing about like art. Like, I'm not an art expert, but I know that if, for one, there's no such thing as bad press. Like everybody, nobody that even played video games that I knew. I was in the Air Force at the time. Guys in my shop that I worked with, they freaking were talking about that scene, and none of them had ever played Call of Duty in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody talked about it. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to earn some bad press, but at the same time, there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah.
Like, it is well represented. It is.
Yeah.
It's good.
It also depends on like what storytelling elements that they use, though. Like you can tell a story about what event is happening without displaying every gruesome detail. Like you see a lot of times we're like, oh, this is going to be a sex scene, and they'll here's an audio that sounds that way, and then they cut away, and it's like, okay, you just infer it.
And you can, that's you can kind of like dot stuff and like leave the rest to imagination. And
Mm-hmm.
you can understand it from that point. That's the good thing about video games or just art in general is that you can do that, and it's as long as it's done, and as long as it's not just being gruesome and brutal just for gruesome and brutality's sake. It's got to have some sort of purpose and meaning behind it.
Absolutely.
Even if their actions in real life, if they were just killers and brutal people, like if you're telling a story with it, it needs to just incorporate with that story somehow. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And I've never heard of that game, so I'm gonna leave that tab open because I want to know more about it, because that does sound interesting. I like games like that.
I'm curious about that too. Okay, that's a good question. You got us talking there.
Absolutely. So I wanted to say this earlier, but how did you feel about Rufus shooting at quarters and making laser beams show up?
That was so fucking weird. Like, I mean, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but in the original game, if I remember right, he wasn't that badass, was he? Like,
no.
Not in that fight anyway. Like, they made him a complete badass.
Yeah, they did. I was very happy to see how they made him. But you're right. He wasn't necessarily a badass, but I don't feel like any singular character besides maybe your main three Avalanche characters, none of them really turned into a badass. They were just kind of bosses. He was tough.
Right,
but
right.
Definitely not a badass feel. But him and his dog, I think Darkstar is his name.
Excuse me.
Like, both of them, they were memorable for me, and that's good.
That was a harder fight for me. I don't. I died once or twice on that one. I just because I did the whole thing where you talked about where I would block and like stay back and try and learn movement patterns and just fucked it up a few times. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll happen.
He stood out. I don't know. I definitely finished him on the first try, but it took me a long time. I feel like Reno was harder for me, but again, I don't play to block, and he just was so dang fast.
He was pretty hard to hold on. There's more to this. To finish that point, Reno was like that was my first challenging fight in that game in the remake.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, it stood out. It's a bit different. I study history, and the Mongols were very much the exact opposite of most villains in games. They slaughtered whole villages and towns. In 1271, which the game is said, they murdered most of the Japanese people they saw and set fire to the towns. The only reason they left was because they were not equipped to fight the samurai. They were beyond sadistic to the Japanese people, and that is what this game is based around. And that's the issue. It's what a player wants to see.
Again, I think. Oh man. It's hard because, yes, I do think players want to see like Doom. Like that's a kind of a loose example, but it's not realistic at all. But there's just a ton of gruesomeness and brutality, ruthlessness. It's like if you've ever played Doom, especially the newest Dooms, like you fucking ripping monsters apart, like reaching in, pulling out their eyeball and stabbing it with its own fucking tentacle or some shit. I don't know. No, it's a good question, man. No need to be sorry.
Yeah, we're all here to talk about video games. And I definitely agree. It's what Sylph is saying. It's all opt-in. You're going to get some people who want to play that, and then others who are just like, I'm just going to steer clear. And you make games for the audience you want to feel the most connected to. So
you can't please everybody. You're not going to please everybody. You should try, and just accept the fact that if you're going to get some bad press, that it's still going to give you press to people to look at your game to be like, oh, that's kind of disgusting, or whatever opinion they form, they're still going to go and look at it and possibly buy to play it. You never know.
I mean, they had that game that got banned off of Steam. I think it was called like Brutality, which it was literally you just going around town having a killing spree. I was like,
well, do you remember the old Manhunt games on PlayStation 2?
I didn't play those. I do remember them, but I didn't play them.
Like that was just like that was some brutal shit. Like sneaking up behind people and like you'd have a wire and like strangle a dude with a wire and shit like that on PlayStation 2. And I'm like, dang. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah, like there are games that are brutal just for the sake of being brutal, but I still feel like if you want if you want to be historically accurate, like you're saying, you gotta keep that included. People are gonna want to see that and understand where it came from, as long as you can explain it in some sort of story, even if the story itself is fictional, then the narrative they create is fictional. As long as you can make a story around that brutality, then I think it would work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right.
Hold on, I found out how to pop out Twitch chat, but
How do you do that?
you have to switch to mod view. So you click on that little green sword, and then you can pop it out. I'm sure you can in non-mod view, but I don't know how you do it.
Whoa, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a nice view.
Okay, I'm gonna skip that for now. How do I... Yeah, we didn't have the option for pop-outs, man.
Do you have better Twitch TV? Because that might be it. I have better Twitch TV, and I don't see the pop-out button.
I'm pretty sure I have BTTV.
Okay, that might be it then. Not too sure.
Did you find how to do it on mod view?
Yeah, so if you go to mod view, you click the three dots at the top of your chat button, and then there will be a pop-out there.
Ah, there it is. There we go. Mod view. Chat. Pop out. Okay, so now. So. Open that.
So I want to talk a little bit about the changes that they made from remake or from classic to remake.
There was a lot of them.
There was a lot. So first off, when we go into Sector 1 and you do that first bind run, literally the intro to the game, we saw, okay, we set the timer on the bomb, and then we get fought by the Scorpion, and immediately we just see there's mechanics to boss fights. It's not hey, let me out damage you. There's legitimate mechanics now.
Right.
Is that a good change?
I think so, yeah. I think with the way that video games are played today, there was a mechanic in the original game too, if you remember, like, it's raising its tail, don't attack it, so you just defend and heal and stuff, whatever. But like, we've evolved, like video games have evolved, and I feel like it does the game, it does video games, but it does everything justice to like added mechanics, make it a more epic boss fight, make it feel like you're fighting this fucking 20-ton machine that could just like steamroll.
It definitely felt like I was fighting a badass enemy, and I felt like a badass doing it. Whereas in the original, I didn't. I'm just an RPG player. So I'm definitely glad they have mechanics in the bosses, because I feel like with regular mobs, it's like, okay, I'm out leveling you. I can kill you. I can one-shot you, whatever it may be. Every boss fight had mechanics, so every single boss fight was difficult because I had to learn it.
And I feel like games are headed that way. And some people are going to disagree with that because they love turn-based. Like, turn-based is not dead, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still playing through Persona 5. I love Dragon Quest 11. Like, turn-based games are still there to stay. But they do things within the turn-based combat now that still give either different stages to the fights, which still existed back then, or they give, different, like in Persona, there's different things you can do. You can attack with your weapon, you can attack with your gun, you can use your persona, you can there's just...
And whenever they started announcing Remake, they said that they were going to have ties back to Classic. I thought they were going to have a game mode that was turn-based with their Classic mode, but it wasn't that at all. It was just auto attack, and you'd be strategic whenever you want.
It's like the Classic mode was like it would block for you or something like that. Or,
like it was just auto attack, and it's okay. But it's to me, that's not satisfying, because it also didn't attack to the level that I wanted it to. It wasn't as engaging. It wasn't as powerful as I wanted it to be. But I did feel like the focus was on tactical, which was nice. But it's not the way I'm ever going to play the entire game.
No, and I'm totally okay. Like, I love turn-based combat, but just the way they did this combat to me was tastefully done. It was well done, and so I'm not upset with the change at all. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sometimes, like you said, combat could be a little bit too long, or just kind of drag, and
It
it's not
was
even that it drug
usually
on.
I didn't know how to do those fights well that made them drag on though.
Right, you if it makes it seem like they're longer than they are because you're learning it, and just there's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, it's just crazy. But once you figure out something that you could have staggered it like that, and you didn't realize that mechanic was there, you're like, oh fuck, I
Oh,
could have
now
beat
it's
this
easy.
in like
Yeah.
2 minutes. Like, yeah, if that.
I remember fighting Hell House, the big house that just is attacking you, and that thing took me almost an hour on its own. And it was just because I didn't really understand. I didn't assess it until it was real late. When I assessed it, I didn't really read it, and then eventually I'm like, this is just taking forever. Why is he healing sometimes? And then I read it. I'm like, oh, that's my fault. I've been doing that.
Yep. Or it's like, oh, I could have staggered him because his windows were all red. And cast a blizzard spell on him real quick, or his like whatever color his windows were exactly. Yeah, it's just. It's stuff like that make you go, oh, I get it, and you feel a little dumb, but you're like, I figured it out.
Leveled up, a real level up.
Right.
Actually, Sylphid, I agree. I think a VR Final Fantasy is probably not far from being here. Like, I think that would be pretty awesome.
That would be interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know this game's going to get a PC release eventually.
I think they've already announced it. I mean, not a release date, but announced that they're going to.
Oh, did they? I didn't realize that.
I'd have to look for it, but I thought I had seen something related to it.
Interesting.
So we saw actual mechanics with the bosses, and we saw that right away with the Scorpion, which was an awesome fight. But then after that bomb exploded when we escaped, we saw a side of Shinra that, me personally, I felt was already there with Classic. But it was very apparent. Shinra blew up that reactor. Yeah, we disabled it, but Shinra was the reason it blew up. And they destroyed that whole sector.
Was that now in the beginning, or in the original, the very beginning? Was that in the original, like where Shinra actually like blew it up, and we just, instead of us just disabling it, or did we blow it all the way up?
I'm pretty sure we blew it up all the way, but we didn't cause that impact to the city like they had in the remake. If they blew it up, they didn't tell us, or at least I don't recall it. But there's a lot of details I feel like they left till the end that I didn't really grasp anyway.
There were some things like that where I was like, wait, what? What's going on? But I agree. Like, they added a depth to Shinra. Like, they make them more evil, make you hate them more. Like, for sure.
There was legitimate hatred going on. Like, there were characters in this game that I'm like, I don't like you. Whereas before it was like, you're just another boss.
Yeah, no, it was now you really hate the president was like a complete dick. I had no idea like that when they did that was in the demo, wasn't it, when it showed up? No, that cutscene wasn't in the demo.
There was one.
Was it?
The cutscene of them blowing it up, yes, and I think you saw him call the shots on it. But there was a cutscene that happened when Jesse was asking Cloud, "How do you feel about Tifa?" There was a cutscene that happened there that wasn't in the demo.
I thought there was one or two somewhere in there where I was like, I don't remember that from the demo.
Yeah, and overall, it gave me a little bit more fear because I knew what was coming down the pipe. I knew what was going to happen to Big Swedge and Jesse. I knew what they were going to do to Sector 7. Knowing that they are on it this early, hey, we know Avalanche is going to do this. We're going to pass the blame, but we're going to give our people a reason to complain about it. I still think there's more to the story there beyond just we're trying to prove to their city that Avalanche is the bad guys. I think there's more to that we'll see in the next games.
I really think that the evilness was there even in the original. They just didn't have the technology time, all that to like really expand on that and make you really feel the hate. Because the story ends up being about Sephiroth and all this other stuff in the Promised Land, but Shinra's got their nails in everywhere around the world. The war with Wutai, or how do you say it? Wutai. There you go, Wutai. Like, I don't remember. I don't think in the original they weren't blaming Avalanche for being Wutai operatives, were they?
I don't remember.
That's a whole other added thing. Like, I remember they having a war with Wutai and stuff.
I don't even remember the war with Wutai.
Okay, I remember the war. I do remember because I remember because of when Elmira tells you how she found Aerith. She's like,
you're right.
That scene is in the original one where she's like, my husband was gone at the blah blah blah, and I thought I remember somewhere in there saying that Shinra was at war with Wutai. I could be mistaken.
That would make
But
sense because I do remember her saying that he was at war and that's how he died. But I never
yeah,
really
it's
connected the
exactly.
two. But I don't think there
Yeah.
was much to them saying it happened beyond
No.
that.
Yeah. Outside of that, no, they were just like, yeah, there used to be a war, and now it's over,
Hmm.
and everything's back to what it is.
Yeah.
But they really expanded on that war and really tried to be
Hmm.
like driving it home and like, oh, Wutai are the bad guys. We're doing everything right. Like,
Even just random people that you hear people's voices as you walk around, like they were saying, "Oh, Wu Tai's at it again. I'm fearful for my life. Avalanche is working for them." They were against
yeah,
Avalanche, and there's
yeah,
so many times where like I know Barrett did it, but me as a player, I wanted to do it too. It's like it wasn't Avalanche. I want to be able to interact with these people, and I just can't.
yeah,
After Sector One blew up, and after Shinra made it really blow up, like I took the time to walk around town where everybody was devastated at this happening and listen to all those sound bites to hear what they said because they really put a lot of effort into it to make sure, okay, these people are suffering, they're scared. This isn't a regular occurrence. A lot of that fear, sure, they may have been at war with Wutai previously, but they never
right.
had fear instilled in their lives until that happened.
And I think it's also for okay. One real quick before I forget this point. You notice how all the dialogue was voiced in the game, even all the background
Yes,
stuff, like
all of
everything,
it.
every single thing was fucking voiced, and I like that. That was
That was
cool.
awesome.
But like, I think part of that too shows it's because like it's supposed to show the disconnect of like the high society versus the slums the game is, and I
Hmm.
think those people being in the slums and being desperate and stuff, it's just like in reality the
Hmm.
rich people want to have the poor people give somebody to blame,
Yep.
and it's like, oh well, we blame these guys, it's these guys fucking us up, not you guys up there, you know,
Yep.
like
And they bought into it, and it
yeah,
it really did feel like, oh, there's a level of reality that's tied in here that it's like this feels like this could be real life. I mean, not the blowing
yeah.
up of a Mako reactor because it's not Mako.
Sure, but like a terrorist action that was like
Yeah.
the people are like, "Oh, it's a government conspiracy. The government did it." It's like, no, they didn't, but they flipped it and made it to their benefit in
Mm-hmm.
some fashion. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
that's totally believable. It could happen. So,
Real quick, did you like the voice actors that they had for the main characters? Did everybody sound like how
yeah,
you thought they would?
I agreed with you. We talked about it originally when I was streaming. Barrett, I like his. The more and more I heard him, the more
Yeah.
I liked him. I
Mm-hmm.
liked him a lot. But I do wish, like, I always pictured him being a little bit more deep. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
that's
did
just
seem like he should have been a little bit bassier, a little bit,
yeah,
but he had all the aggression and the
yeah.
intensity behind him. So
And then
he,
that goofiness to go along with it, of stuff he
yeah,
said.
always
Yeah.
doing the fanfare sound randomly.
Da, da, da,
Oh,
da, da, da. Yeah, that shit, yeah. That
all
made
of
me
it.
laugh. I love that
Uh-huh.
a lot.
And then
Yeah, no,
Aaron, go ahead.
go ahead. No.
Aerith, like I wasn't a huge fan of her sound at first, but as she got like having goofy interactions, like she was a funny person, a funny character. She wanted to high five people. She would tease people. I didn't see that side of her in the classic, but once I saw that side of her kind of come out, I enjoyed that voice actor a lot more. It really didn't seem like a good fit for her until that started coming out. Um,
Yeah, no, she was perfect.
mm-hmm.
Did you see the video of her, of the voice actor reacting to it?
Uh-uh.
Hold on.
I did see that she streams on Twitch though.
Yeah. Let me.
And to Sylphid's point, I would like to see more about Sephiroth's origin story too. I know they go over it a decent amount with Genova and how it kind of came to be, but you don't see that. It's really just written or told story. But I think we're going to see a lot more of it this game, as we're starting to see the connection between Sephiroth and Cloud. There legitimately is a connection there this time, whereas before I think it was just kind of a hey, here's a plot twist towards the end. Now it's every step of the way. It's like, Cloud, you need to realize why your life isn't what you think it is. And Hojo's dropping hints, Sephiroth's dropping hints. You're seeing Marco, the tattooed number tattooed people, like they're all coming towards him, and you kind of see like him struggle with it. You see the migraines that he has, that I don't feel like they did nearly as good of a job demonstrating in the classic. you're seeing these come to life, and people are reacting to it too. You get to see Tifa and Aerith specifically. They notice it every single time, and I think Aerith knows a little bit more than she ever leads on.
I would agree with that statement. I would 100% agree. I can't show. It's a good video, damn it, and I want to show it, but. Can you see my stream real quick?
Yeah, I got it on there.
Can you see? Is the video popped up?
I see a web browser. I mean, that might be it. Browser.
Damn it! Why is it such crappy video quality?
That might be it.
Damn it! Why is it such crappy video? Can you see it now?
You don't have it full screen, but yeah.
Can you see it now? Now?
You don't have it full screen, but yeah.
Now? It's blurry, but like, this got me, man. It's blurry, but like, that's her. That's the voice actor for Aerith. That's her. That's the voice actor for Aerith.
If anybody's watching my stream, we're over on Static Stream watching this video. If anybody's watching my stream, we're over on Static Stream watching this video. She's crying.
Yeah, it gets.
She's crying.
Yeah, it gets. Okay.
Yeah, she's real emotional about that. I'm guessing that she doesn't really get to hear or know the storyline when she's doing these voices. She probably really gets
they just give him the line. Yeah, they just give him the lines, and it's like you can't know anything else about it. Like that's what you know.
That's crazy.
Like, yep. She's like just seeing all the. I think she made a freaking picture or a post about it or something, saying like, this is just the fruits of my labor, basically.
And that's awesome because
crazy to see.
Yeah, I'm curious what else she does because I saw that she says on her bio it says like she does acting, voice acting. I think she does artwork and stuff like that too. So I'm curious if she has any other notable roles or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd never really heard of her. We've probably heard her and stuff, and we just don't even know it, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
But she was probably one of the most accurate voice actors that I heard. Like her voice was like almost perfect. What I heard it in my head, how I played it. Red 13 was like the perfect voice.
He's not what I expected, but I didn't have any expectations really.
I guess it's kind of hard to picture a dog. Yeah. I guess it's kind of hard to picture a dog talking, but like I heard that and I was like, I don't know why. That's how I heard his voice in my head, just like this, almost like kind of like a Native American type of voice.
Yeah,
like,
kind of.
Like it was very.
Hojo also kind of fit how I expected him to. Just kind of creepy.
It was creepy. I don't know. I expected him to sound a little more nerdy. But I can't really explain.
Maybe a little bit. And then
I can't really explain that.
Don Corneo, he was above what I reacted.
Yeah,
what I expected.
He was really really good in that role. I liked him.
I didn't really much care for Don before in Classic, but watching this one, I'm like, I need to get out of this section. I don't like him. I need to get away. It made
you feel very like oppression. Like
yes. You could feel. It was kind of gross, and I love the Honeybee Inn scene where you do the dance competition as Cloud.
Yeah, that
Didn't
was
expect that.
so off the wall weird, but it worked. Like I don't understand
It
how
made
it
it
worked, but it
enjoyable.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was, yeah.
It was very enjoyable. I wish there was more. Maybe the dance mini game could have been more fleshed out.
Right.
If they do ever do anything that had points or anything like that, but
Right.
just it was good comic relief for what we had because it having Cloud just randomly do a dance competition with a guy who's very sex positive and everything like that. It felt good to have it put it in. It wasn't forced or anything like that. I've seen some people on Twitter bitching about it, but it's like in reality, this feels like Cloud to me. Him being forced in situations like I'm so awkward, I'm just gonna go with it because I'm not gonna say no.
And I can understand people being just uncomfortable with the whole
Yeah.
situation itself. Is probably why they really didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. It's a Japanese game. They're quirky. Ever since they got bombed back in World War II, they've been making some weird shit. That sounds racist, but
That's what happened.
It's so true.
That's what happened.
I don't. That was a little far out there for me, but anyway, yeah. I like that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I would like it. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it made me at first. I'm like, come on, you're being a little bit over top because they made the girls dress skimpy and everything, and then you got to see some of the characters that you had to interact with to get those side quests through it, and I'm like, come on, you're wasting my time. Let me get to the main story. And really, the other side questers, the hand masseuse, that made me uncomfortable too.
That was a really uncomfortable scene for me.
I didn't.
This is weird. I don't know how to react to this.
If you're just massaging my hand, why are you shutting the curtain? I mean,
yeah.
I think you're trying to.
I think more was implied.
Yeah,
in that scene.
I think so too.
I'm pretty sure more was implied.
Yeah. But then you got to the dance scene and all the things honeybee, and I'm just like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, they made the honeybee in. It felt like the honeybee in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, this felt like what it should. What did you get from the honeybee in the original? I forget.
I don't remember.
I forget. I don't know why I forget what you got.
You
there.
get the wig from the gym.
Yeah.
You get the.
Is the hairpin?
Maybe I don't remember.
That's probably right.
So okay.
Anyway,
going back to changes. So Sector 1, you blow it up. Shinra really blows it up. We came out and we got to see everybody's reaction. You got to meet more about Jessie's family. She used to be an actress.
Oh yeah.
That was real cool that they added, and Roche too. I know we didn't get to see him again anymore in the game, but I felt like Roche was a good addition that I'm looking forward to seeing again.
I don't know if we will see him again though. I mean, I think it was. I thought we.
You keep cutting
totally
out for some reason.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just sometimes, and that time it did a lot. But you're good now.
If I sit over here, does it cut out?
I don't think so.
Huh, that's weird. Anyway, I thought we were going to see Roche again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
the
expected to see him in
bike
that game.
minigame. Yeah, the next bike minigame, I expected to see him again, and he just didn't. But I don't think he's done yet.
That's what made it feel like he was one of the things in the game that I felt like was for now anyway, an unnecessary add-on because there was nothing fleshed out other than he was a soldier. He was a soldier looking for a fight basically. But like, was there more? Like I'm like, well, that was kind of tacked on. There's no more to that. Like, what's going on with this?
Yeah. And I don't know who his alliance is. Like, is he Shinra? Is he an active soldier? Is he a member of the Turks? I don't really understand that either. But I do look forward to it because the character that he played, it just like he felt like what I wanted Johnny to be. Johnny was that somebody who just people. Johnny wasn't good. I just wanted to trash on the whole time. But Roche kind of filled that gap of like what I expected Johnny to turn into. So for that reason, I liked him, but I was bummed out that they didn't add more about him, so I could at least understand him.
Yeah, like wait, understand Johnny or Roche?
Roche.
Okay. I was like, wait a second, it kind of confused me there. Yeah, I want to know more about him for sure. There's got to be more about him since he was a soldier as well, like, and we know the ending, like everything has changed, so. Maybe him and Cloud were... No, he couldn't have been buddies because Cloud would have recognized him.
Cloud doesn't recognize anything. He doesn't even know that he's not Zack.
Yeah, true. I don't, I don't
um,
know.
so that was a big difference. I welcomed it because it just, to me, it gave it was just a new villain who I don't know much about, but it gave a good character style to it. Um,
Yeah, it was different.
mhm.
I liked it. I just thought it was tacked on, and
Yeah,
then that
it did feel a little bit tacked on because they didn't provide any more detail after that.
right. And it could be fleshed out more in the next game. Who
Hmm.
knows?
And I
But
think it will be, or at least
that's
I'm
yet to
very much
see.
hoping.
Yeah.
I think the next major change that I remember, there might have been more in there, but once we got to the pillar, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, I can't remember if there's any other major changes before that besides small things like the Leaf House and stuff like that. Um,
All the side quest stuff with the kids.
yeah.
The way that you rescued Aerith when you fell in the church, you fought Reno, and
Mm-hmm.
then like the original when you went up to the attic and pushed the barrels down and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. This time they used the Dementors, is what we'll call them.
Yep.
They used the Dementors. They prevented that soldier getting and capturing her
Mm-hmm.
basically, and then later in the game you find out, yeah, they're the will of the planet. Like they
Mm-hmm.
make sure that their predetermined path plays out, which her not being captured right there was part of their predetermined
Yeah.
path.
Which
Like
I'll get back to that probably a little bit later. I want to know why they needed to feel like they intervened. Had something already changed that they felt the need to intervene? Um, Things like that I didn't really think about until I had beaten the game and we had talked about potentially it's a different universe now. But like,
right,
why did they feel the need to intervene?
right in that moment.
Yeah, it should have all played out the same way it did in the original.
I think mostly because they couldn't make that barrel game the same as they could in the original. Like it would have just it didn't translate over very well
Hmm.
to like
But
a weird mini game they mixed
yeah,
in the original.
I mean, from a game developer's perspective, I understand that it wouldn't translate the same.
Mm-hmm.
But from a storyline, to me, that says something was put in motion that went against the will of the planet, that predetermined path, before the game even started. Whether it be
I think
Sephiroth or Genova, or somebody did something that's like, oh shit, this isn't the predetermined path.
I think so. My explanation, my reasoning for that was once I found all that out because I thought about this scene. I'm like, that's weird. They blocked her off.
Hmm.
Was that Cloud wasn't supposed to fall down the church, like, but they couldn't prevent that. Like that
Hmm.
happened, and she would have been gone by then because Reno was coming to take her no
Hmm.
matter what. She would have been out of the church and been able to hide and get away from
Hmm.
him by that time. But since Cloud fell and delayed her, they're like, oh shit. Well, she needs to escape with him. Like he's her route out now. So we need to protect her, keep Reno away, and let Cloud rescue her and come along. And that's how I think that's kind of how they
Hmm.
weaned out the barrel game. Not weaned out, but like kicked out the barrel game.
Hmm.
And then, well, I mean, you still like sort of did it where you dropped the chandelier on the
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
It was different, but it's the same. But the fact that like they couldn't touch her,
Hmm.
I feel like I don't know, and that could be a stretch too. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing, like, there's just not enough to really know why, but
Right.
it's it's making me ask more questions. Like, just how did they intend this to go? Because it's after that ending, it's like, oh, this game is not what I thought it was. Like, there is so many things that make me question, like, oh, what did they mean by this now?
I wonder if like the small details don't matter to them. It's like, oh, if they have this interaction here, as long as you're still going, you don't get captured by Reno in
Hmm.
this place, or you guys don't get to save him at this time, or you
Hmm.
don't get like all the other stuff that's like, okay, well that can happen, that can happen, that can happen, but like anything outside of that, that's like we need these two people to meet for this path of
Hmm.
destiny to go. They'll intertwine there.
Hmm. You saying that made me think about it, and it's like, well, in so the way I'm envisioning this in my head is, in classic and remake, you see the intro be Cloud jumping off the train and them starting to go towards Reactor One,
Uh-huh.
and you don't see them show up at that point. But you get to the point where both of them, you blow up Reactor 1, and in one of them, Shinra goes above and beyond and really devastates the area, whereas the other it's what we know. They just blew it up and they ran away. To me, that's the point where, okay, I think the universe, something in these two Final Fantasy universes diverged. And I think that is potentially what's setting things in motion. So
Could be.
I'm curious if we're going to find something like, oh, okay, something in Shinra's came time traveled, universe changed, whatever you want to call it. I think something's going to come up and be like, President Shinra, you got to do this because it'll help you this. Maybe it's even Sephiroth.
Right.
But that's kind of how it's playing out in my mind, what I'm thinking about.
The only I don't know if we're trying to look too deep into it or
Might
not.
be.
But so think about one thing too. When they go to blow up the Sector 5, because the first one was Sector 7, right? No, they live in Sector 7.
First one's Sector 1.
Was it Sector 1? I thought it was like Sector.
I'm pretty sure it was 1, and then 5 was
Sector 8?
next. No, 5 was
Sector 5 was the second one you go blow up.
yeah, I don't remember.
They live in Sector 7, right?
Yeah, they live in Sector 7, and they
Maybe it
didn't
was
blow up in 7.
Either way, the second reactor they go blow up, right? The original story was that they pay Cloud his money, and he comes and does the second job with him. Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse are all at that second job. The remake, remember the Dementors, like, for whatever reason, like they kick him out. They're like, we don't need you for the second job, Cloud. We're going to take care of this.
I think
You go
Biggs
do your
was
own
there,
thing.
but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's like you go do your own thing. Like, we'll take care of the second job. And then something happens, I can't remember what, and all the Dementors come out, and you're fighting all the Dementors for like the first time, and then they hit Jessie's leg and injure her, so she can't take part of the second bombing thing. So they have to ask Cloud to be like, hey, can you come and help us blow up this reactor, right? And it's like, I don't understand that. Are they just trying to, they changed the story, obviously, but are they trying to like implement the Dementor guys in to show how Cloud was always supposed to come with them?
I think so. I think it's, we need to make sure you get there because you're almost about to go off track.
So we'll injure Jesse, so Cloud has to come, and because but then that makes me think about the whole thing I said earlier, because that means Cloud was meant to go and fall down and meet Aerith.
Yep.
And then so it's like, well, then that would explain it further as to why they protected her from Reno, because it's like, oh shit, they got separated. He's supposed to go with her. Stay. Like, so she wasn't originally intended to walk away, to leave before Reno showed up. She was always intended to meet Cloud there, and then Reno show up and they escape. It's just they assisted that escape a little bit.
I think so. I think I'm going the same way that you're going. Like this is all for a purpose, and there's more that happens. Like when you fight the Whispers and you get to see the clips that make me believe that. But I think we'll still see some differences.
It was at first I was like, are they just changing the story for the sake of changing the story? And now that I kind of rethink about it, I'm like, no, they changed the story to make those Dementor dudes have a purpose, to show you that they are changing the pattern, they are changing destiny, like making sure that Cloud goes with to go and meet Aerith and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I agree, because I felt the same way. I'm like, I'm cool with the changes that you made. I mean, it just expands the Final Fantasy VII universe. I'm cool with that. But then once you finally get to the end and you're like, oh shit, you really meant things.
Oh, yeah. That was all intended.
Yeah. It's not just, we just try to do it different, so it's longer. Nope, it's not that.
It is different for being different sake, but it's also different for the story's sake.
Yeah. And I'm happy that they did that, because while I'm still nervous about the next game because we don't know what the plot line's truly going to be for the next games.
Yeah. Now that everything's all just fucking thrown in the air. We don't have to talk about the last scene yet. I want to talk about that at some point.
Sure. So where we're at right now and talking about differences. So up at the pillar, we got to see Wedge fall down, but he saves himself. In my mind, in Classic, he died about the time he fell on the ground because his body just wouldn't have survived. I think he says his final words to you in that moment. But,
because Aerith runs away right after that. Doesn't save Wedge. She just goes to get Marlene. Yeah.
But we got to see Wedge save himself, and I'm going to help Aerith with save Marlene and the townspeople because everybody needs to be aware that the pillar's going to fall. So we immediately got to see someone survive that we didn't think was going to, at least in that moment. But once we
Yeah,
go,
and then they played the cutscene where it looked like the pillar fell on him anyway. But
yeah, which I thought it was going to
I
be.
thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, there it is. There they killed him. Okay.
And then we get to see climbing up. I think we get to see Biggs next, and he says, "Oh, I can fend them off and delay them, so that way you won't go uninterrupted." And it doesn't really. I don't think it really plays it out as him taking his final breaths, but more of a, "Okay, I can't move until I absolutely need to. Like I'm exhausted," type of thing. But then you don't
Right.
see him again until the end,
Oh yeah, true. I guess.
and that I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to the end credits whenever you see Biggs wake up in a bed. I didn't see that. It wasn't until I watched your stream that I saw that skit, and I'm
Oh,
like,
you didn't see that?
oh my god, he's still alive? What the fuck?
Yeah, he's still alive. I was like, so they killed Jesse, but they keep Biggs and Wedge alive. Like,
Yeah,
does that mean Jesse's still alive too? Because
I'm hoping so, but
I don't think
she
so.
legitimately died next to you. You saw her take her final breaths next to you.
I thought so, but like that spirit, there was a Dementor spirit or whatever. I call him Dementor still. There was that spirit around her when that happened. Like,
Was it around her in the same way that it was around Barrett?
I need to watch that scene again.
Yeah, I need
I
to
don't
check that
know.
again. Because if
Yeah.
that's the case, then I could see them saving her. But I think she's dead.
I think
And
she
then-
is too.
mhm. And then with Wedge, okay, so spoilers. We're talking about spoilers. The pillar falls on Wedge, or makes it you think that, but then there's a big scene that happens where you find out that he's actually alive, and he plays a little bit more
Right.
role in the game. But then at the end, or towards the end, when you're escaping Shinra's tower, you see the Dementors not let him leave. And it's like, okay.
Oh yeah.
And he says, I
Yeah.
hope that all I did, at least I made a difference. Which to me is, I think he's aware that he final destinationed his way through living a little bit longer, but then realized this is his time. I think he's dead now after that part.
What did they end up doing? What did he end up doing when he was in the tower, or when he was in the Shinra building?
He called for the actual Avalanche organization, which that's another thing that didn't exist in Classic.
Yeah, the other sectors of it or whatever.
Yeah, the other sectors of the Avalanche. Yeah, who were part of the Wutai War.
Right.
He called them, and he went with Mayor Domino, who I think they did say in the original that he wasn't on Avalanche's side, but he was kind to the Avalanche goal because he didn't like working for Shinra in the Classic either. But he was the man on the inside, so we got to see him work with Mayor Domino on trying to, hey, let's overtake Shinra.
Wedge was the one that called that chopper in?
Yeah, he asked real nicely.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember that now. Shit.
So he was in there for that reason, but then you don't get to see him leave. They cut to black whenever the Dementors don't let him leave.
Yeah. It just cuts him off saying, I hope it was enough. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They leave it open-ended.
They do. But I'm thinking he's probably going to be dead.
I think so. It's very possible. It's just strange that Biggs is alive. That's just that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what role he's going to play, because in the original, when the pillar drops, they all three are just dead, and you get to see Barrett cry about it, and he's very upset, and you still get to see that moment where Barrett thinks they're all dead, but you get surprised by the fact that there's still two alive.
Right.
And that's we forgot to talk about when Wedge gets his ass slapped. that was good. Him just pulling his pants down. And it burns. It burns.
It burns.
It's
It burns.
nothing. And then just
was,
slap on the ass from Tifa.
that was so good. That was a good little bit of humor that popped in there. I like that.
I like that one.
Pretty funny.
That was the scene that you got to get Ifrit for the first time, or that was the intended first time for a summon.
Yeah.
Which that was cool to me when it was kind of scripted, and it's like, okay, here's your time to get
summons work. Yeah. Pretty cool.
So okay, the pillar dropped, and we know that there's differences with Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Where do you go next? You go back to Sector 7 because you want to check for if there's bodies, and you don't go back to Sector 7 in Classic after that pillar. You can't.
No, it's demolished. It's gone.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get back in there. Like,
but instead we get to go back, and then we find a secret section of Midgar you that doesn't exist in Classic. That's when you
The
go
underground
underground.
lab.
Yeah, you find the underground lab where there were human experiments, and you get to fight all these failed experiments and a
Right.
big failed experiment monster. I'm trying to think what else happened down in there. I feel like there's something else that you get to learn related to what Shinra does. I can't remember what it is. I mean, that's how you find Wedge being laid down there. You see him laying down.
It was one of those. That was an example of how I sort of felt some stuff was tacked on.
Yeah.
That underground lab felt like it, but I still feel like I can't remember one big defining story moment that came out of that underground lab, and I think that's why I felt like it was tacked on.
Yeah, I think it's tacked on as, hey, this wasn't part of the original, but it definitely gave me more of a, Shinra and Hojo, they really experiment on anything and everything. They're really bad people.
Yeah.
And
it might have just been driving home that point.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if we'll see more come out of the failed experiments. I think to me that's just, Hojo just does a lot of shit and sometimes it fails and they got locked down there. I don't think we'll see more out of that specifically, but
probably not.
It was cool to see that.
Maybe. I just said maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, we'll probably fight more of them, but I mean, we fought some failed experiments in Classic too. They didn't look like that. No. We got to fight some.
Right.
Then we get to come out of that secret underground lab, and then we head. I mean, at this point, we've been through Wall Market. We've been through Don Corneo after the pillar. To get to that point, we've had to be through Don Corneo and everything. So pillars dropped. Our next goal is to effectively climb the wall. And in this one,
all the side quests.
Yeah, have to do all those fucking side quests. Dang,
you don't have to, but they're kind of.
They were worth it. They were worth it.
Yeah.
And they made climbing the wall different this time too. I was very nervous about that because I remember vividly having Scott, my brother. I couldn't jump on that vine to swing over. I'd always fail, so I remember having Scott get it for me several times. And I was like, I wonder how they're going to do that because I hated that scene. It was very memorable to me because I hated it, but I want to know how they did it. And it was effective how they did it, where you're effectively using the gun, what do you call it, the grappling hook gun to climb up, go over the wall, and then you just climb up scrap. It made more sense this way than the original.
Right.
But it didn't feel as good.
And that's how they made the grappling hooks kind of served a dual purpose. For one, to get up the wall and stuff, but when Biggs fell, he used his grappling hook to slow his fall. Yes. When Cloud fell into Aerith's church, he used his grappling hook. That's how they explain people falling from ridiculous heights and not dying, which was kind of a cool thing in itself too. I was like, okay, that's good. But the grappling hook stuff made sense, but I don't know. I liked it. I don't know if there was a better way to do that, to be honest. I don't think there was a better way.
It felt less, hey, I'm watching a Japanese cartoon kind of show, and more like, okay, you try to make this realistic. And I don't need my Final Fantasy VII to be realistic.
No, it's a fantasy game.
Yeah. So I'm cool with it. I could have taken it or left it. It gave a lot of answers for a lot of things, and I think they used it for that reason.
What about the boss at the end of the wall climbing? What's that? That boss was so familiar. Like, what the hell was he?
That's the second part of the elevator boss.
That's what I thought. Okay, oh my god, I was like, because I saw that, and I was like, oh, they took out the elevator boss in the Shinra Tower and made him to this. I'm like, that makes sense because that's such a ridiculous fight of like you're going down in the elevators the whole time and like you're still fighting. Yeah,
and suddenly just here's a thing that flies in through the broken glass and starts attacking me too. I'm glad we didn't fight on the elevator this time. I never liked that scene.
Forced. Yeah, I didn't. For one, that was a hard boss fight too.
Because Red 13 could never do anything except magic and limit break. So it's like cool.
You just had to wait for him to get hit a bunch to use his limit break.
Yeah. So I like that they separated it. I like that he got exposed sooner because I didn't like that boss fight. And this way felt more like it made more sense. Having it be a sentry looking through the rubble and killing survivors and stuff like that. Right. To me, that's what I expect out of Shinra.
Yeah.
And how they would use their resources. So I didn't like climbing, but I did like that boss fight. It made sense to me. It wasn't an easy fight. It wasn't a hard fight, but it made
Mhm.
sense.
It was one of those things where they saw what they had in the past and
Hmm.
they improved upon it for a modern game, basically. And I think they did a good job.
Hmm. I agree with that. And then, oh wow, we really skipped through a lot of stuff because I completely forgot about going through um, the train graveyard and then all the
Mhm.
Colosseum stuff. Those were real extended too. I really didn't like the train graveyard this time around. It was fun to explore,
I
but the ghost stuff, eh,
It was a little weird. I never
yeah,
liked it in the original. Like I understood like
yeah,
what it was supposed to be and stuff. I like how they expanded upon the Ghost Graveyard to where in the original it felt almost like a tacked on area to me.
yeah. And even still, it feels like filler now. I like that they
Yeah,
took it as an opportunity to be like, Aerith wants to be kind to this ghost because it's trying to be friendly to it. It's like, nope, it's really trying to take advantage of your fears. I like that
right.
they did that to expose that side of Aerith, but it really just felt like that. You're just
It was
exposing
just
Aerith to
yeah.
being that kind of person.
It
Um,
wasn't bad, but
yeah,
it was just it was like okay, it's part of the game. It wasn't one of my favorites, not one of the best, but
yeah,
it's there. I'm okay. I was a little surprised that there were two boss fights there though.
yeah.
The ghost and then that chariot dude. That dude was the first one that gave me some real problems.
The ghost gave me a lot of problems. I used a shit ton of items, but the
The ghost
chariot,
didn't.
no.
No.
I just couldn't figure out how to do damage because he'd have a physical version and then a magic
Yeah.
version. I didn't understand how to tell the difference until I
Mhm.
really started paying attention. So I just was constantly dying, and then this game is like once you get in that track of where someone's dying and you're trying to heal them or revive them and
Yeah.
then heal like then someone else dies. Like I
It's
kept
just
falling in that trap.
it's called a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
It's like this happens and this happens and this happens. It just gets worse.
Yep.
It's like fuck, and eventually you die.
And I think I did lose to that boss 2 times, and then it just it made me
Death
so mad.
spiral.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
So
I
if it says spiral.
eventually got it, and I was like, "Oh, good! I'm finally leaving this section." It's like, "Nope, you're halfway through the ghost room
Yeah.
section." Son
Yeah.
of a bitch.
I was like, oh,
Um,
what the fuck? I was done with this.
yeah. And then the ghost chariot came out, and he's my least favorite boss. He wasn't my hardest boss. In fact, I think I beat him on the first try, but he's boring.
His mechanics were weird. Like, I mean, it was cool that like you do your damage and then he goes into the air and you have to
Mhm.
use arrow or arrowaga or whatever you
Mhm.
have, knock him out of the air. That
Yeah.
stuff. But when he came down for that third phase and he just went in circles and whipped his whip, like there was literally nothing you could do when
Cool.
that happened.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm just
what
gonna
the
run
fuck is
around
this?
for a few minutes. Like I don't like bosses
Yeah.
where I just run forever. And Hell House was that way for me too because I didn't understand it. I'm like I'm just gonna run around until I can hit you again, and then I'm gonna do 2 damage to you because you're also not gonna take much physical damage.
If you want to look back at the Coliseum real quick, I think that was another weird add-on. Not really weird, but like I'm like, okay, this is an add-on. But
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I'm glad they added it as a precursor to like the Shinra training area.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that it existed. It didn't add much to me for the story. It makes sense for
Right.
that thing to exist in Wall Market, though. It felt fitting
Yeah,
for the area.
100%. Like it didn't feel out of place. It was
Mhm.
like, oh, that makes total sense. There's a Coliseum, people fighting,
Yeah,
people betting on fighting. That's a totally normal thing
yeah.
you'd see. So
But it wasn't something that I'm like, I want this to be part of my gameplay, main story. Nah, I'm okay.
and it fit the main narrative. It fit the main gameplay narrative
Mhm.
of like trying to earn the approval of the three to get
Yeah.
into mansion and stuff.
And
So
then Corneo screws you. I was like, nope, you gotta fight fourth and fight Hell House.
yeah, that was shitty. I was
Yeah.
like, until I saw it was Hell House, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Like this would be cool.
I remember talking to Savannah before. I'm like, are they going to show me? Like, the whole time you're walking through the tunnels to get to Wall Market or taking the back way, the safe way, I'm like, are they going to show Hell House? Are they going to show Hell House? Because he was just a random mob that would spawn in that
Yeah.
area.
Yep.
And then they didn't show it, so I'm like, oh, let me go look up Hell House on Classic so you can see what I'm talking about. It's just this house that attacks you, and I showed her the video of it. And then, like, 20 minutes later, we get to the Coliseum and start fighting, and it shows up like, I waited for this moment for so long.
There he is, it's Hell House. Ah!
Happy he was there, but I hated fighting him.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. Okay, so Abzu, the sewer monster, I liked him. He was easy to me, but I liked how awesome they made him look.
Yeah, he looked like a badass. Like he
Yeah,
was scary. His ultimate attack in the original game was that
the
wave,
tsunami.
the,
Yeah,
the tsunami. That did unavoidable damage. Like you had to take
you.
damage in that in the original game. This
Oh
game it
yeah,
was so
good.
easy to
Yeah,
dodge it.
you just walk
Like
against the wall and you're done.
it's like, oh, there's a sewer over there. Okay, just go to the side and you didn't take
Now
damage.
Abzu, I'm assuming I'm saying his name right, but Abzu Part Two, the second time you fight him, he
I
was a
didn't like
lot
that.
harder.
It was a lot harder, but I was just anytime I see recycled content, I'm like,
Yeah, it. I get
but
it
I got it.
because
It fit. It
yeah,
fit.
it fit because he ran away at the end of that first fight. We didn't kill him. It
Oh yeah,
fit,
you're right. Yeah,
but
he did run away. So I
yeah,
guess that does make more sense. Like,
hmm
I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah.
it made sense. But I feel the same. Like it's recycled content. He didn't have any awesome new moves. He was basically what do you call it when you enraged? He was in enraged mode, and that was basically it. Otherwise, he was no different. But otherwise, I like the look of him. I'm glad I got to fight him. But he was the first part was easy to me. The second part was a lot harder. But it really was just let me spam health potions harder. Not oh I can't figure out how to beat you.
Yep.
Um, let's see. Valkyrie was the second when you're climbing up the wall. That was the name of the boss that you fight.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
then, but then you get into Shinra's lab, which I felt like breaking into Shinra's lab wasn't as you weren't as sneaky as you needed to be in the original. There was a little bit more parkour elements to it, which was interesting. Um,
I'm glad they took out the whole key card thing where you had to go to the different levels and like put the Shinra puzzle together to get this key card.
Yeah, once you got up, I was glad. Which I took the stairs up, so I got to hear all those little funny talking bits. But
Oh yeah, stuff I didn't hear.
they do that thing where like I remember when you get through Sector 1 and you see Sephiroth first time, you're like staggering. You're like, oh, I'm so slow walking. Just make this a cutscene because I hate that I'm not I'm not walking fast. They did that as you got up the stairs.
Oh, that sucks.
And it got real annoying, but I'm glad I went that way to hear it. But there is that one other section in Exhibition Hall that I think you can get to once you get the key card that I didn't go into. I'm going to have to replay that and see if I can get back into it.
What other section is that?
So when they're in the center, there was that shield generated reception desk that has a key card.
Yeah.
Once you get it, if you go straight up, would be the elevators that you took. If you took a left instead of going straight, you would get the stairs. But if you took a right, there was like an exhibition hall or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And I didn't go that way after I got the key card. I'm like, I'm just going to the stairs. Here I go.
Actually, now that you mentioned that, I was just watching Moon play last. You know who Moon is, right?
Yeah.
He was playing the original Final Fantasy, the remake. So I was like, "Fuck it, let's play the original now." And he was literally doing that part you were just talking about. He was getting ready to go like fight Rufus or something, or wherever he was towards the end of the Shinra building. But he's like, I'm gonna go back downstairs and make sure I didn't miss anything. And Barrett gives him some crap like, we don't have time for this shit to be going down here. But he goes down to the first floor, back to exactly what you're talking about, and he goes off to the right, and there is like a little exhibition hall or something. And there's like a girl you could talk. I had no idea. There's like a girl you could talk to.
She's behind a counter, right?
Yeah, she's behind a counter. You can buy items from her and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's 2 chests in the back of the room that you can't get at that time.
I've been there before.
That's the area that you're talking about.
It probably is. I'm gonna have to revisit that because there probably is an item in there.
But his chat was saying you can't get those items until you can revisit Midgar later.
Yeah, it's a lot later on.
Yeah.
But you saying that reminded me. There's a lot of items that you can get in chests in the game, and I don't know if you can get them later. But there's a vendor as you get through the tower where if you go talk to her, you can just buy those weapons again. I don't know if they just showed you, hey, you collected them, so here it is, it being sold out, or if you could have legitimately bought them. But I was really bummed out to see, like, oh, I could have potentially just bought these and not spent any effort.
There was the last weapon I used as Cloud. I just randomly walked up to where the Shinra combat. Yeah, was it the double blade? Whatever one it was. Yeah, the double blade. It was right next to the Shinra combat simulator. I walked over to that item person and I was like, "What items do you have?" And it just had a Cloud sword in there, and I'm like,
Yep.
"Wait, how long have they had this? What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah. That's the one I used too. It looked cool, but I wish I had finished the final fight with the Buster Sword. I think it would have been a lot
Yeah.
cooler to do that.
Yeah. I like how they gave reason to use the Buster Sword as long as you could too. By the
Yeah,
way,
the weapon
that was pretty
upgrade
cool.
system. It felt when I needed to go in there because I got a new weapon. It was like, this is slowing me down. This is frustrating. But I'm glad it existed. I'd be bummed out if it didn't exist.
Yeah, because like they can't put all of the weapons in the first game. There's so much
They
more.
put so many though.
Yeah, they put a ton in there. Don't get me wrong, and it makes you think this is going to make up more and add more.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
fact that I can get like Blizzaga and all those other third level materia in the first Midgar section, it's like, how do you really take it up a level from there? I don't understand.
yeah, it's going to be, and that's a whole other topic we'll have to talk about what are they going to do for the next one.
So the next one that I want to talk about, and this is me just calling out, when you save Aerith in Hojo's lab, in the classic, there's like an elevator or teleport or whatever it happens, where that monster that you fight, the specimen HO512, it comes up into the thing with Aerith. No, wait, Red 13 comes up, and then when they come out, the boss comes up.
Yeah,
And they didn't do that this time. Like, just the way they played it out was different. I think it made more sense now. It broke out of the tank, and you fight it before you even get Aerith. And to me, I kind of like that, but at the same time, the way the storytelling elements happened in that, you fight this real intense boss he's pretty hard. He has regenerative abilities and stuff like that. And then immediately after you fight that hard boss, Hojo's like, I've calculated that only these 6 soldiers is what it takes to kill you. I'm like, are you kidding me?
like, all right, dude, come on. Now they were harder, but
It wasn't hard though. It felt just
I really
out
gotta
of
get it.
time. Sure.
I gotta get a drink. I got a dry throat scratching here. Be right back.
Okay. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was a good time though. I'm gonna have to play it again, I think. I'm excited to do it again. Now, sit in silence. I won't do that, I don't think. I will look at Twitter because sometimes I do that. I want to play it on hard mode, but I played it, that PlayStation 4 controller, so many nights for like 4 hours straight, maybe even 6 hours straight, and my hands got like dehydrated, so like I've got like soft spots that hurt on my palm of my hand from holding that controller. I've been having to lotion it and everything. I fucking hate it.
Woof.
Oof.
Damn.
He made it.
Yeah, I forgot to fill up my water.
You're still cutting out sometimes. I think it's just your noise gate on your Discord.
Yours does too. I mean,
Oh, does it? You just cut out a lot right there.
I wonder. Hold on. Let's see. I can sort of see the green bar lighting up around my name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it's
I don't know
perfect, but then just occasionally you do. I mean,
Wait, I wonder if it like picks up the sound of you talking and it just mutes my mic instantly or something. Or
that could be what it is.
that's probably what it would be.
Do I have a ton of background sound coming from my mic?
I can hear a little bit of, but like nothing. It's not loud.
Then I'm just
kinda
gonna leave
there.
mine this way, and you'll just.
I have mine on automatically determined. It's fine. It's cut. I know we both cut out, but I think it's okay so far.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Just the occasional. It is what it is.
So we talked
up
about
your
bosses.
Left pointer with a Switch controller. What do you do to a Switch controller to fuck up your pointer finger? Yeah, it's definitely Discord doing it. It's not.
Yeah, it's not the stream, or it's not us. It's the Discord muting us at random times.
Yeah, I set mine to not be automatic, so you'll probably hear me not cut out on Justin's very often now. But this is our first time doing it. We'll get better if we keep doing it more. Which I want to talk about that if we want to do this more when we get to the end. But yeah, so we talked to the bosses. Swordipede got turned into from regular mob into like a mini boss, and that was kind of cool.
It was cool. I didn't expect that at all, and it was a nice 2-part boss. Like
it was a lot of fun, and I like the little hey, Barrett and Cloud just slamming on the door, couldn't get through. It's like, I'm just
I
gonna hit with my
lost.
sword.
I lost my shit. I don't know if you were watching my stream when that came
Yeah.
up, but I was fucking dying right there. It was the most ridiculous. Like,
Open! Bank vault, just open!
What the hell's that? And then you walk up to it as the girls, and you just hear tone, tone.
Yep.
Like I can just picture them already sitting outside the.
And then Aerith pushes it down. And it's like, hi.
Almost smashes in. Fuck. It's that Japanese anime style humor put in there.
Yeah, it was perfectly fitting. I like that they're doing that and not making the game entirely intense. There's a little bit more intensity in the game than I think I could do with a little bit less intensity.
I like it. I like it personally, but
yeah,
I don't know. I've always liked that kind of stuff.
yeah. There's never been a point where I've been like, this is over the top. But the whole game feels like I need to sit at the edge of my seat, whereas I would like more moments where I can be like, oh, this is a relaxing moment. Maybe not relaxing, but like lighthearted.
And I feel like we'll get those moments in the other
Probably.
games because the open world is going to open up, obviously.
Like Costa del Sol and
Right.
what's that? The Golden Saucer. Like those are gonna, I hope, be relaxing.
Yeah,
moments.
and I think part of the reason for side quests were to do that as well, to try and help taste some like, just chill, do these side quests. Like I didn't like it because I was like, oh, let me just play the story. But I think that's a lot of it too. But a lot of our complaints we both had are like, I just want to fucking finish a story and see what happens.
Yep.
Like,
and it's been since 1997. Like it's been a long ass wait. I don't want to wait, and that's why I want to get to the story.
I want to know.
Yeah, but I'm glad. Like there was a couple times I think I took 2, maybe 3 days where I intentionally didn't play, and I think that was necessary because I was definitely getting to a point where like it feels like work because I just want to beat this game. And I didn't enjoy that feeling. So I'm glad I took those days off to be like, okay, this is a fun game for me. I'm going to leave it that way.
And the more I talk about it, we might be romantic. I felt the same way. Damn it. Okay, is it better now?
Yeah.
So I might be romanticizing it a little bit. But, like, as we talk about this right now, like, I realize how much fun I actually had playing the game. Like, I'm like, holy shit. But at the time when I was playing it, there were times where I'm like, it feels like a job. Partly because I'm streaming it and I feel an obligation to stream it. But partly because I'm just like, trying to trudge through. And I don't know. I almost didn't enjoy it at certain times just because I was so focused on the end. Yeah. And I shouldn't have been. Like, now that I look back at it, there's so much more that I could have been focused on. And that's how games go, though.
Now that I understand that the next 2 games aren't going to be the plot that I know, I think I'm going to be a lot more relaxed with it. It's not going to be a race to the finish. I don't think. It depends on how long it takes till the next games come out.
I mean, I'm still going to race a little bit because I just love the storyline, and I know they're going to keep some stuff the same and they're going to pay homage to the original.
Sure.
But like, I'm always curious to see what they're gonna do. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
do you think they'll take out your ability to steal Tifa's underwear?
Oh God, I don't know.
That's important. Game-breaking mechanics if they take it out.
I was not able to steal her underwear. I don't know what you're talking
about. Refund, please.
Hell is this game?
Brain pods. Do you remember them? The one that time locked you and then cloned itself like 300 times.
Oh my God! Like I was able to beat it pretty fast. But holy shit, that was intense. It got really intense there for a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I didn't think I was going to beat it, but then it turned out I did. Like, once you killed 2 or 3 of them, it's like, okay, you've stopped stun locking me, so I'm good.
Yeah, they all use stop on you and stuff. And so I just freaking, what did I do? What did I cast? Thundaga. Yeah. And it, like, took, like, 2 or 3 of them out. I'm like, oh, okay, now it's a little more clear. Yeah.
Easy. But I like that element, like, Hojo used that guy to defend himself against Red 13 attacking him. Like, I want to know what other kind of... There's so many opportunities where our main protagonist can kill or try to attack villains. I wonder if we're going to see more of those kind of scenes where it's like, oh, Shinra pulled something else out of their ass.
There's going to be something to explain some of the original quirkiness and weird things. You know? Because there were some things that happened in the original...
I want to see that big ass snake be on a spike that Sephiroth stabbed through it.
Oh yeah. Well, you know they have that in 15 as well, right?
No, I didn't know that.
in 15, like there's, I think you almost, and it might have been a side quest, but there's a spot where you walk by it and there's just a spike, or a huge spike and a snake just curled, just like in Final Fantasy VII, and it makes some sort of comment about it. It makes it very clear that it was like a Sephiroth.
Yeah,
it's a weird little, what do they call, Easter egg.
I'll have to look that one up because I played some of 15, but after they crippled that main character and made him literally useless for the rest of the game, I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. You made my gameplay not fun.
Yeah.
We talked about Rufus. I don't think we need to talk about him more. The elevator boss named the Arsenal that you fought in the lobby. He was fun, but I cheesed the hell out of him. I stood behind a pillar and just attacked him, and I basically got through most of the fight without taking damage.
I didn't realize that, like, when he was casting, well, for one, when he cast the missiles at you, you could shoot his gun, the weak spot, if you ever saw that.
I didn't see that.
Whenever his right arm, I think it was, lit up, and it was, if you looked close enough, it said a weak spot. And if you like did enough damage after like 5 to 7 seconds or something, it shot the gun. But within that time period, you could do a decent amount of damage and disable it, and it would attack you. The same with those purple lasers that came out.
Those were the only thing that would hurt me. You could interrupt that one?
If you got behind him, you could see the charge pack on the back, that when he's charging up to fire those lasers, like it says weak spot, and you can fucking attack that thing real quick, and it disables those lasers.
If I play this in hard mode, which I think I'm going to, I'm definitely going to have to use that. Because hard mode, you can't use items at all, so I'm going to get fucked.
Yep.
That's going to be rough. He was a fun boss, though. I mean, I enjoyed him happening. But yeah, I cheesed it. I'm upset that I was able to, but that I found my opportunity, so I took it.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah. Next one, I think, was, Genova, that fight.
That was a good fight. That reminded me of a raid boss fight.
You're cutting out again. Sorry. World of Warcraft.
No, we're good. It reminded me of a raid boss fight in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Because, Who was
the
Dream? Not any specific boss, just the mechanics of that fight.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had to take out the tentacles and everything.
Well, like, actually, in the most recent World of Warcraft raid, the Ny'alotha, the N'Zoth, the last boss, I have never fought him, but I've watched streams of people fighting him. During one of the phases, tentacles spawn all around the ground. You have to go kill the tentacles and stuff like that.
Okay.
But even outside of that, it just was very representative of a raid boss fight to me, where it's like, disable these 2 tentacles so he can't grab you and heal himself, and then all these tentacles spawn. You gotta split up. Everybody splits up and takes their own tentacle, and yeah.
It definitely did kind of have, the way you're describing that feel to me. Like I said, I didn't notice, I know I had to destroy the tentacles at first, but once I did, I'm like, okay, mechanic, here we go. Now do as much damage as I can. Okay, mechanic, here we go. Gotta just do as much damage as I can, and that was a pleasant fight, although I will say, my probably only complaint about that fight, I think they butchered the Genova theme song. It was not intense to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, but I wish it was more, that freaking, you know what I'm talking about, that high-pitched, like...
I wanted the, like, more 8-bitty sounding sound in that moment, because it I wouldn't say it terrified me as a kid, but it was memorable. Like, this boss is gonna fuck my shit up.
Yeah, yep. And it didn't play at first. It didn't play until, like the second phase or something, almost. How does that sound? I can't do it.
Damn it.
But it was, I love that. That was one of my favorite. Speaking of songs, before I forget that one, Reno and the Turks. Like, I hate that they changed their original song. Every time the Turk showed up on screen, it got quiet, and it was that like that. Dun, dun, dun. You know the Turk song.
And
like, you knew a Turk was coming.
They did have a Turk song, and it does have that intense moment, but it's much later in the song.
Yeah.
So you don't hear it when they show up. And it's
right, exactly.
It wasn't bummed out.
It's because I have the soundtrack and I listen to it. This isn't the Turk song, and then I hear that happen within that song, and I'm like, no. Every time, you better not soundboard my mouth music. Every time you saw a Turk, like you knew a Turk was going to show
Mm-hmm.
up because that music, that fucking finger snapping, dun dun dun, played. And I'm like, ah.
And I kind of liked it this time though because I wanted that original sound, but
Mhm.
I feel like the Turks aren't as bad guy-y now as they originally were.
They
So
seem to
maybe
have a
they
little
don't
more
need,
morality.
yeah. So maybe they don't need that intensity in their soundtrack anymore because that's what they're trying to convey. I miss it because I like that soundtrack, but they're much. I wouldn't say they're forgiving or friendly, but there is a sense of moral conscience somewhere in there.
And it wasn't even that it was like super intense. It was like, oh, what did he link? It was like just laid back. Ah, damn it, fucking Scrubs. I love Scrubs.
Oh
So good. We're the Turks. What?
god.
But like it was like that, just that relaxing music. Like it made him seem cool and was just like these badasses. They're like spec ops guys, and I don't know. Anyway, we were talking about the Genova fight. Yeah,
Genova fight and the music. And just speaking of music, I think my top two songs are the Shinra theme because I still felt like the Shinra theme.
It was good.
They had a lot of that anger and angst behind it. And then I just like the Honeybee Inn section. It was so memorable that song easily is my top three.
That's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
I like that song a lot. But I think the Aerith song was really.
Yeah.
Aerith's theme or whatever it is.
I did like that a little bit.
Like they did a really good job on that one. And then when I realized it was One Winged Angel, he just said it. They redid One Winged Angel. And it sounds awesome.
It did, but I wish they would have introduced it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Man, it was a good song. It's
the very end. I didn't realize what it was at first either until it played that memorable freaking part of the song. That I can't even.
Sephiroth.
Yeah. I was just like, oh fuck, there it is.
Yep, and you knew when it hit that point too, because like immediately it was memorable. I think they both kind of stand alone in both the original version and the new version, but I'm glad that they left it mostly sounding the same. But they just didn't hear it nearly as much as I wish you did. How did you feel about Barrett getting stabbed by Sephiroth?
That dying? Was so fucking like, oh, my mouth was. I physically dropped my mouth on that. I was like, okay, is anything free game? Biggs is alive. No, Barrett's got so much more to this original story. Like, there's no way. It's not possible. But I had that doubt for a little bit. And the players that have never played the original, like, that's going to be like, oh, shit for them. Like, yeah.
When I saw, you had the same reaction as I did, where it's just like, what the fuck? Barrett doesn't die in the original. You can't kill him right now. That's bullshit.
It was like, it just gave you pause instantly. You're like, what?
And I feel like for me, that was the first moment that when those whispers came out, when the whisper took the stab and saved Barrett's life for it, that kind of gave you that vibe of like, okay, they're not bad guys, but it's not necessarily that they're saving us or hurting us, but they're definitely trying to guide us. That's when it gave me that feeling.
Yeah, and then they explained it right after that, like, wait, how the fuck am I not dead? And they're like, oh, well, here's what they actually do, and it's
how does Red 13 know so much?
Because of
Cosmo Canyon,
Cosmo Canyon,
grandpa.
Because his name's Nanakai or Nanakai or whatever.
Yeah.
Red 13 is. What's the old dude's name in Red
13? Something.
Hubenigan or Hubenigan or something like that. Yeah. Something like that. I can't wait to, like, I've said it multiple times in my like Cosmo Canyon. Like, I like that area. Because that boss at the end of the Cosmo Canyon fucking dungeon killed me so many times until I realized you could use an X potion on it and kill it instantly.
What?
Yeah, it's an undead monster, and you have like potion at the time. So if you're struggling with it, just use the X potion on it and it's dead.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yep. But the music, the Cosmo Canyon music, I just have to say that real quick. That is like my favorite freaking soundtrack of probably any video game ever.
Yeah.
It's top 5, top 3, top 2. Like, I don't know why. Listen to the original Cosmo Canyon. Like,
I really like that. Yeah, I gotta listen to it again because I don't recall it, but I do remember in that moment, like
So
as soon as you
good.
get in there, I'm like, "This is Cosmo Canyon. I want to be here for a while. I don't like leaving this area."
No, 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 no.
Ha. Stream kisses,
Stream
cooties.
kisses.
Real quick, can I ask you to turn off that automatically input sensitivity thingy? You cut. Sometimes you cut out and like I lose like half a sentence. It's not often, but when it happens,
Hold on.
it's
I will.
appreciate you.
How high do you have it turned up?
I have mine pretty low. 8 and minus 80 decibels is my threshold, and I'm
Okay.
almost always over it.
Okay. Well, like pretty much any movement out of me is gonna turn my mic on.
And that's fine.
But
You don't have a ton of background audio, so appreciate it. Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah. No, you're good. I just didn't want. As long as it doesn't cut out now, that's what I don't
Yeah,
want.
yeah. So okay, so in that moment, I know we got to see Marco, who was number 49 early on, and you see a few more Dream episodes. But what I don't get what it meant when Sephiroth turned into Genova and then turned into another one of those people. I don't know what
Well,
that
he
means.
is. If he has number 2, he's the second clone. Those are all clones that Hojo made, and they're all going back. They kept saying like reunion. We're gonna go back to the reunion, and that's what the going to the promised land to have the reunion or whatever like that. That's what is. I forget about the original story, but I thought Cloud was one. I thought Cloud was number 1.
I don't know
No?
if he was a clone or just part of the same experiment as Sephiroth was.
Maybe he wasn't a clone. He was just he got some of those same Genova cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But
I don't remember.
so was the clone? Did he turn himself into Sephiroth, or was Sephiroth able to control his body? I don't get how.
I think Sephiroth. I think Sephiroth kind of was able to change himself into that.
Okay.
Like, I think because of the Genova cells, he has those supernatural powers. Shut up, Tim. This is the best kind of noob stream.
The best noob stream.
I think he has, because he like flies away with Genova and shit like that. Like he's got special powers. It's fucking Sephiroth. Obviously, it's that anime aspect where there's going to be some supernatural shit happen, and you saw it.
And yeah, I'm all right with that. I just I'm more like, is this going to get explained? I'm cool with it not, because it feels like it's something that doesn't need to be explained. It's just I'll keep you wondering.
I feel like they will explain that eventually. They have to. Yeah.
So once you get up there, you see Sephiroth kill the president, which it caught me off guard that the president wasn't already dead when I got up there.
Yeah, that caught me off guard too. That he had extra dialogue. We saved him, and then he pulled a gun on us. Like that just added more depth to the story.
It did.
I didn't mind that. I liked that.
I liked it. It made me kind of feel for Barrett. I'm like, and President Shinra. I'm like, you make a good point. Barrett just wants us to clear his name. He does want to save the planet, but at this point, he's focused on just clearing his name.
Right. He's like, I could have given you anything, and you want to clear your name? Like what?
Yeah. So it did kind of make me feel like, shit, maybe I did ask for the wrong thing. But it was cool. I'm glad that they had that. And then President Shinra getting killed, surprising you by Sephiroth, and then Barrett getting stabbed too, which blew my mind.
That was mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's about mouth music.
It's about mouth music. That was pretty good. So then we go out and we climb on top of the roof, and we get to see Sephiroth, one of the Sephiroth clones, jump down. Do we think they killed themselves, or were they just getting away?
Getting away. They didn't kill. They didn't die.
You don't think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
sure.
too sure.
I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly confident, but there is still doubt they could have died. But I'm pretty sure that they will still live.
Yeah, because I mean, if you could fly, I mean, why would you just jump down and kill yourself?
Because one of them that you saw towards the end there, that was the one that was in the room next to you, Marco.
Yes,
Was that
yes.
Marco? Yeah. Okay.
I think that was the one that turned into Genova.
I thought the one that turned into Genova was number 2, and Marco was like 49 or something like that.
Marco was 49, but if it was 2 that turned into Genova, then it was 49 that
Sephiroth,
carried
I
him
thought.
in. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
We'll learn more about that.
And then we have the Reno fight that not Reno, the Rufus fight that we talked about, which he's a badass, and I'm excited to see him as the new president of Shinra, because I think he's going to be more of a bastard than his dad was.
I feel like when you do get to is it Juno with the cannon?
Yes, I'm excited for that scene. That one stands out to me a lot.
That's gonna get a lot more in depth than the original, like because
they have some conflict between Heidegger and Tseng. I don't know how you say that Turk's name. But there's some conflict now because
Sung.
Okay, there's some conflict there because I mean Rufus was always head of over the Turks, but as soon as Heidegger didn't call him president, you saw that there was like, oh shit, there's internal conflict now. So they may fuck each other over a little bit.
I think there's going to be a lot more in-depth storytelling with the Turks, with the Shinra, like politics and all that stuff, how it works. They're going to expand on that some more too.
And then we escape, and we have our bike minigame that you have from the classic. I wasn't too big of a fan of doing the original final Midgard boss as a bike boss.
I liked it because they added the 2 extra bosses at the end of the game. I was like, okay, I get it. They don't want you to fight this boss fight and then the next boss fight and then Sephiroth after that. Like,
if it was a standing boss fight and that was the end, I'd been upset. But because there was those extra bosses after, I was okay with it.
Yeah, I was like, I see what they did here. Like, it's interesting, but then I'm like, okay, there's got to be more boss fights after this. I was like, this is not the last boss fight. It's not a bike fight. Like,
yeah, I definitely felt the same. And when I saw the end, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna jump down, and that's gonna be it. But then it turned into so much more. You're standing at the end of that road that you knew was being built. They talk about it, the interstate, throughout the game too. Get to the end, and then suddenly Sephiroth comes and basically threatens you and challenges you, and then you just see him take his sword and cut through reality. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I need to see that scene. Yeah. That was some Kingdom Hearts shit. Yeah, I think the person that was talking to Nick was right. Like, oh shit, they did pull some Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
But I think that's like, you were more correct. They pulled some Square Enix shit, some Square stuff shit. If you've played any sort of Square Enix game, they fuck with time continuums. They fuck with realities. They fuck with multiverses. They do that all the time.
Yeah. Because even in Classic, we went to the edge of creation. I mean, we were there in the final fight. So I mean, it's not out of character for Final Fantasy VII, but it is. It felt out of place for this section because I knew what to expect here.
Right. I wait. Were you talking about the
when he cuts
changing
through
reality? I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I need to watch those cutscenes again because like what Aerith says about like changing the future and changing stuff. It's like I feel like there's more meaning to it than I got because at the time, fucking you even told me I had to mute my Discord because Tim was talking on Discord and fucking it was just fucking my audio up.
Good old Tim. So they talk about like, oh, this is. Shit, what does she say? She says something along. Both her and Red say something along the lines of, we can't go against what the planet says for reality, and then she stops Cloud from going in, and I think in that moment she realizes what's going to happen to her. I think she already knows she's destined to die. Yeah. And so when we go through, I think it's like, I don't know what this yields. At least the way I knew it, Sephiroth would die. Now it's scary. She
has some sort of inkling. Like she knows, but like she's understanding her purpose more and more. I think at that point of like what she's actually supposed to do, because she mentions her materia in the beginning of the game and stuff, and
you I don't know if she cutscenes and stuff like that related to.
And you talking about that last cutscene where they show the cutscenes like related to her dying, or?
Well, not that one specifically. So early on in the game, like when you first meet Aerith, you get to see her like the materia drop into the pool and stuff like that. But then before you even go into, I'm gonna call it Changing Destiny because I don't know what the actual name of that level was called.
Yeah.
Before you go in there, I think you have another cutscene towards the end where you kind of get another glimpse of what was the end of Final Fantasy Classic, but it's not very obvious that she dies. I
Right.
think you get something. I think she's aware that Cloud is also feeling the same things. I think they're both getting a sense of things aren't the way that they were in the classic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. She knows something's up, but she's not sure what's up.
yeah.
Honestly, like, yeah.
And so we go in to changing destiny, and then we start fighting these whispers, which I don't know if they're supposed to specifically be something or if they're just bosses with boss names. But as you fight them and kill them, you start getting those glimpses of like Red 13 running with his kid.
Right, like the last scene of the original
Yep.
game. Yeah.
Yep. Aerith dying, getting laid into the pool, her materia fall. You get to see all this stuff. And then when you
Yep.
finally beat it and start fighting Sephiroth, he even says to you, is like, this path isn't laid out for you yet. We don't know what's happening. And he makes a comment where he says, you have 7 seconds left. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
What does
that
he
one.
mean?
I was trying to find some sort of meaning behind that because I'm like, that 7 seconds sounds so familiar. I just haven't Googled anything about it. I haven't looked anything
Yeah.
up. Like, I thought there was something about that 7 seconds.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up too. And then after you see us beat him, we say, "Oh, we changed destiny. We've defeated Sephiroth, even though we haven't really defeated him." And then you get to see that back in time scene when you don't see it in Classic, but if you ever played Crisis Core, where Zack and Cloud are fighting together, Cloud's on the ground, and Zack is having to defend them from Shinra because Shinra is betraying Zack and Cloud. But in Remake, Zack doesn't die. Zack defends himself, and now he's alive in a world
He's
where
carrying Cloud back to
Yeah.
Midgar with him.
and all about what Classic is about is Cloud gets bathed in make Mako. He can't really figure out who he is, and then Zack dies. So Cloud picks up his Buster Sword, makes it somehow back to Midgar, barely alive, and he's so jumbled up that he thinks he lived the life that Zack had.
He
Even now at the beginning of Remake, he still thinks those things, but they've changed destiny, meaning Zack carried him into town.
Right.
How do those memories conflict now? Like, does he still think he's Zack the soldier?
Yeah.
Or what does that mean?
And that's what's so like. That's the thread they dangled in front of you.
That's the hook.
Like,
And now you know.
There you go. And that's the Kingdom Hearts shit they did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. I don't agree with that one guy that Nick talked to about like some Kingdom Hearts shit. Like, that story is so Kingdom Hearts story is like way out there. It's like there's like 30-minute videos that you still don't understand the story. If you watch those 30-minute videos, you're like, I don't get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Sure.
the 7-second thing. I just Googled it. Sephiroth was in the air for exactly 7 seconds when he was dropping down to kill Aerith.
Oh,
That's
shit.
that's what he's referring to. Those 7 seconds he was in the air. So you have 7 seconds to make a decision. And Cloud just stood there like, what the fuck? So
Shit.
that just adds a whole new
Yeah, it
fucking.
Dang. Now I want to know what we're. Maybe he just takes the blade for Aerith. I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to see Aerith live and Cloud's going to die. That's my prediction.
Some people on Reddit or somebody's like, if that's pretty dumb, if that's what 7 seconds means, the slice of the video game might be 7 seconds long, but it's obviously not Final Fantasy 7 real. It wasn't real 7 seconds. It was just slowed down, and it was 7 seconds of the video was 7 seconds long. That drop was 7 seconds long, but it was slowed down. It's like, okay, but like that's.
I guess we'll just have to find out. And I want to the end
Wait,
where
what?
we go ahead.
Now somebody else is saying that it's 7 seconds till the end of the world.
I don't know. I know he's. Go ahead.
In the chapter 8 Destiny's Crossroads, this is an in-game image. It says, in the world beyond, Sephiroth shows Cloud a vision of the planet 7 seconds before its demise. Having stayed from the course Destiny set from them, they strike out on a path toward an unknown future. So it's not about Aerith. It's about 7 seconds before meteor hits, basically.
Interesting.
But in the original, he killed Sephiroth, which stopped the meteor, right? Like, how did that stop the meteor? I forget.
I don't remember how they did it. And I'm curious. So in classic, the first meteor that came that killed the
Cetra.
Cetra, yeah, that killed Cetra. That's how Genova got on the planet, is through that meteor. So is the meteor supposed to bring more of whatever Genova is? I mean, I know it's going to destroy the planet, but like, what is there more to that than just destroying the planet?
I don't know.
But that twist of, okay, they've altered the timeline by that single activity that happened at the end. There's so many people who were like, it's a remake. I already know that story. I don't give a shit. And I just want to be like, it's different now. But you can't really say it's different. They've changed the story without really spoiling the fact that the game is different now.
Yeah, they didn't. They changed it, but yeah, after seeing this turning point little thing about like they show 7 seconds before, so he was showing them all flashes. Well, shit, no. I don't know. That's that's a turner up here.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be hard for them to fuck it up.
I think so too. I think as long as they don't keep convoluting it more and more and end up pulling a fucking Kingdom Hearts on it, I think as long as they just like, this is what it is, here it is, we don't have to like make all, because like Kingdom Hearts, like something would happen, people would die, and they'd be like, oh, it was actually this alternate timeline, and then this happened here, and then it came, and then it's like, you guys are just fucking it up. As long as they don't do that, it's fine.
And I don't think they will, but I don't know. We'll see. So the next one, I'm predicting the next one is just going to be on PS5. I'm going to be surprised if they even make a PS4 version. I don't know. But are you going to get a PS5?
Yeah, eventually, because PlayStation's always got plenty of RPGs that I like to play. So
yeah, I'm thinking about getting one at launch specifically because they've said there's going to be so much backwards compatibility.
Well, they also said there's going to be a limited quantity available for the first year.
Yeah, so I gotta get my pre-orders in, I guess.
You gotta.
But I wonder how they're gonna pull it off because like I made my character on the PS4, and I want to retain that character. If I'm getting a brand new game, I don't know if PS4 allows you to say, "Hey, load my save file from another game." Because I mean,
I'm pretty sure cloud saving is a thing.
It probably is, but I mean, so talking my computer career background, a lot of systems like, oh, okay, you can't let this program touch this thing that this person did for security reasons, because then somebody could just make a game that corrupts every file on a game system. So I could see them blocking it, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how it goes because I want them to load my save. That's what I really want, but I don't know if they're going to. I almost feel like they're going to be like, hey, you're level 30. Let's just start from here. I'm like,
yeah, 30's too low. And they might do that. They got to save some things from your character.
How did they do it in Kingdom Hearts when you went from Kingdom Hearts 1 to 2?
It all started over. They explained it in a way. Like, the third one explained it the best, is in, like, since you were Sora and you were trapped in the Kingdom Hearts 2, like they went off somewhere to another world, then you got trapped in another dimension or some shit.
Okay.
It brought you back, and so when you came back, you started slowly relearning all of your stuff. And so, like, that's like, oh, you go through the game and like you got this spell back, and you can do all this stuff again, but it's like gated after certain time periods in the game.
Gotcha. Hopefully they don't swing something like that, because I don't know. That's one of the things that's making me the most worried about the next one, is because to me it still is that classic JRPG where it's like I want to grind and level from level 7 all the way up to like 60, 70, 80, because otherwise I won't be able to beat the final boss. And here I am, I'm already level 40 with level 3 materias everywhere.
Right.
So
That'll feel kind of cheap if you have everything, like all your materials, all because people are going to can play through it for years now and like have save files with all their materials at max.
Yeah.
And that would feel almost cheap to go into the second game unless it's hard, unless they have some sort of mode where still you shouldn't be able to start the second game with everything at max like that.
Yeah. It feels cheap at the same time. Like if I put in the effort, I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to swing it because it being episodic, I don't know. And I'm curious if they're going to
one of the more challenging things for them to do.
Which I imagine they probably thought about it before they made the decision to be episodic.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I started watching the making ofs. I never got through them all, but they look like they put a lot of thought in behind of how they were doing things. So they had to have thought about this.
They're definitely thinking and planning, and that makes me happy. It's not an EA game where they're just throwing something out there to make a buck.
Right.
That makes me happy.
A lot of love and care. The guy that remade it, like in the very beginning of the very first behind the scenes, he was just like, I was looking at how much time I had left to make video games and what I wanted to do, and I was like, I want to make Remake 7. I've always had it in the back of my mind. I want to do it. And he went to the original game creators and was like, you want to do this? And they were like, are you fucking crazy? But yeah, let's do it. So he went to them and talked to them, and they were on board. So it's like, okay, let's let's do it right if we're gonna do it.
Yeah. How long do you think it'll be till the next one?
2 years.
2 years.
I don't want it to be 2 years, but
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was 5.
I really hope not. They said it won't take nearly as long, but I mean, we waited 20 years.
Right. Well, because the engine's all set up now, like all the base stuff is all there. Character models, voices. They just have to add in all the new stuff, and I'm sure they're already working on it. But
there's some stuff that I feel like will have to change, though. Like you go to the party screen, and there's a lot of party members that you get throughout Final Fantasy VII. I don't think it will. The way they have it built, I don't think they'll be able to keep that style with how many party members we'll get.
It'll probably change.
The more weapons that you get, like I already have so many abilities, and I'm just scrolling for days. It feels like. So if they keep adding weapons and abilities, I don't know. It's just gonna feel real weird.
Yeah,
I like that Midgar was expanded, but I didn't expect it to be expanded to the point where like, oh, I'm leveling for an end game experience.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to.
They made it a full game.
Yeah, and that's just not. I love it. I like it, but it's not what I expected.
Right, you have your doubts because you know there's more to the story. There's more coming, and you're like, how are they gonna do this shit? Like, we shouldn't focus on that though. We should trust that they're gonna be able to do this correctly. I feel like they will. They did this first episode really well. I think I'm putting trust to them now that it'll be on the up and up.
Yeah, even if the gameplay experience isn't fun for me the way this one was fun, I'll still get a good story out of it, and that gives me hope and everything. So. Yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I don't have any doubts that they will make it bad or anything like that, but I don't want to wait.
Not at all. I don't want to wait one bit.
But I don't think I have much more to talk about. I mean, I'm definitely going to be thinking about things that I want to say. But I think I hit all the main things that I wanted to get through.
I'm trying to think. That's all the main stuff is trying to figure out the ending and trying to figure out where it's going to go. And
and even then, there's a lot that we didn't cover because there's just a lot of there.
It's a full 40-hour game, but it's even more than a 40-hour game with all the side stuff that we didn't touch. Like I didn't finish the Shinra Combat Simulator.
Nope.
Like there were items and there were material that I missed that I didn't know about. And, there's a lot to the game. A lot.
Absolutely. I want to get Bahamut. I want to know what he looks like. I'm bummed out that I haven't. And apparently there's a secret boss that you can also fight that's like a big mech warrior. I saw a picture of him, but I have not seen many people talk about him.
Weird.
Did an episodic release that we had previous game save state to pick up where it left on? I'm sure games have done it, but
probably,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's security for it. I don't know. I don't know what PlayStation and Sony's stance would be on it.
Yeah, it'll be probably the biggest aside from the story changing and stuff, aside from all that, like I think how your things are going to transfer over from the first episode to the second episode are going to be the biggest questions of the release.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be something I'm going to assume that they're going to be pretty open about it pretty quick to see any sort of feedback they get, whether it's well received or not. Or they could be totally secretive. I don't know.
I hope not. I mean, like hearing how Blizzard is doing with their vanilla, like, hey guys, how would you like your character transfer to be? I like when companies want that feedback. They're asking for the feedback. And even if I don't agree with the decision that most people want, I had the option. And to me, that's the most important thing.
You could voice your opinion and felt like, hey, somebody was listening at least, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to call it for now. I got to make a phone call, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Oh, you were up late last night, so it's time for you to pass out.
I got to go sleep. But thanks for doing this with me. Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about that. How do you feel about the like podcasty, talk showy kind of vibe for your streaming?
Hold on. Did my shit freeze? Am I still there?
Where? You turned your stream off, but...
Did I turn my stream off?
No,
it's still on. It's froze. My stream froze.
On my end, yeah, it is frozen.
Hold on. We can talk about that though. Yeah, like I closed Streamlabs real quick.
And that would be good if they pre-baked the game and just next was treated as Disc 2. I've been thinking that maybe they would do that. Like, hey, we'll re-release the entire game thus far. And I'd be completely cool with that. I think that's a good idea, to be honest. I would agree. It's already 100 gigabytes, so that might be hard for them to do.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that'd be something. What the fuck?
Did you break it off?
Dude, you gotta look at my stream. Like, it looks weird.
I just see I'm offline screen.
Well, I just turned it back on. I don't know what happened to it. It's all fucking... Woo! It did not like it whenever it froze right there. Because all I did was, like, I opened up our pop-up window of our voice chat right there.
Whoa, what's
and
happened?
It just, like... Yeah, I don't know what just happened. Like, it freaked out.
It doesn't even have the same style that it had before. What the fuck?
No, it's weird. Something weird happened. I could not tell you what happened.
I don't know. So how do you feel about doing talk showy podcasting kind of streams? Is it what you want your stream to be going for? Or what do you think?
I like it as an addition. I feel like it's good practice on vocal clarity, it's just good practice on a lot of different things.
Sure.
Like,
I think I want to keep doing it, but I don't want it to be my main focus. When I was talking to Savannah about it a little bit, I'm like, I think it'd be a good thing to do, like maybe once every 2, maybe 3 weeks, just like, oh, hey, this game came out, Valorant. Let's talk about Valorant today, let's just talk about it.
Right.
I know for myself personally, I've been talking, I'm like, I'd like to do maybe mostly game, but I also have found I get a decent amount of viewers when I do programming too. So
yeah, definitely.
I think I want to be variety in that stance, but I don't know how I want to schedule it. But I do like the idea of doing the podcasty stuff, but I don't want to be having to constantly, let's come up with our story for this week about what we're going to talk about.
Right, and a lot of streamers do that, but it is a lot of extra work if you're working full time and then doing your stream as a side thing, like as a hobby, like we are. Like, it's hard to, like, do I want to play games or do I want to go make this podcast? Or
I just want it to flow and be easy feeling.
Yeah, like this. Like, this was a game we really enjoyed. That you put in way more legwork than I did on this one, but I felt like either way, like, well, yeah, I know you're very organized, very like to have everything planned out, which is good. It kept us on topic and stuff, but it's like. It just came easy. Everything came easy to us, basically. Yeah. We had a game we enjoyed that we enjoyed talking about. Like, I do definitely see myself. We could definitely do stuff like this in the future. Okay. I would enjoy it. This is not just a one-time thing. I think it's a good mix-up to have. I like it.
Flex in there, so I can tell. I can't do it. I don't got no muscle left.
My biceps, they're just so tiny now and so undefined.
I got nothing. I've gained a lot of weight since you last saw me, and I haven't been to the gym. I'm a tubby boy.
Better lose it.
I've been thinking about losing it again. It's something that has crossed my mind a couple times, but we'll see.
It'll cross your mind more when you hit your 30s and you're like, everything fucking hurts.
I believe that.
That sucks. But yeah, this is good. I like these types of streams. I like, again, like I said, I like to be able to practice my voice. Like, I didn't realize I'd watch some videos from streamers. Like, practicing talking is one big thing. If you think you sound nasally or this, you can only fix so much by microphone effects and like having a good microphone. You need to learn how to project, how to enunciate, how to not be like so fidgety in front of a camera. Like,
I'm bouncing the camera the whole fucking time.
Like, I do the same thing. Like, and it's gonna happen, sure, but like eventually you just calm down and you get used to it. It's just more exposure, whether somebody's watching or not. It's still, it helps. And if it's something you want to do, then do it.
Yeah, and I like this style of, like, I don't